All right,
the
here we
Cal
are.
numbers.
It's a live edition. Here you go. It's Puck's best baseball postgame show. Do you remember when we used to do this long ago? You remember this?
Yeah, vaguely. I
What do you
do.
mean vaguely? It wasn't that long ago.
Alcohol's killed a lot of my brain cells.
Oh, huh? Yeah, well, it's good to see we're going live. I'll be honest with you. I don't know, you can tweet in right now. I don't know if this is live right now. I'm hoping it's live. It should be live on X, Twitter, and also your favorite spot, and also should be live on YouTube. My name's Jason Puckett. If you're seeing, hey, that's what he looks like, huh? I'm Puck. That's Ryan Divish. His weekly appearances are brought to you by Chalet Bowl, chaletbowl.com, the number one bowling alley in all of the land in the Proctor District in beautiful Tacoma, Washington. We are going live right now, pucksports.com on YouTube. You'll be able to listen to it later on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, wherever you find your podcast. Well, that was an interesting game. It really took a turn there in the 10th inning, and it turned for the better for the Mariners because, I'm like scribbling down stuff left and right going, God almighty. Just they keep doing it again. They keep shooting themselves in the foot. But thanks to Cal Raleigh, who just continues to dominate those guys, Divish, man. They pull out a victory and a much-needed win.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I thought they were going to blow it. Like you look at the way they were playing, you're just like, okay, this is going to end badly. It's like you're watching something, and it's like watching somebody on I-5 traffic, and you're thinking, okay, yeah, this will end badly. This isn't going to be good for me. And so, yeah, and then like once they got to extra innings, I thought, okay, they might have a chance. Just because you automatically start with a runner on second, which is better than what they were doing for most of the game. So, I was kind of, oh man, maybe they have a chance. And then Cal hits that homer on a pitch off the plate, and you're like, okay, yeah, this is pretty crazy. So,
hey, I don't know if you saw. I don't know if you saw this. Did you see the stat? And I thought I'm watching the game, and I thought maybe I misheard it. 10 of his 18 hits have they been 10 of his 18 hits have they been home runs? Is that right?
Against the Blue Jays?
Against the Blue Jays?
It sounds about right. I know he has 9 in the regular season against them. 9 in the regular season. Let me see. They have the notes since you're making fun of me. They have in 16 or in 15 career games against the Blue Jays, he's batting .264 with a double, 9 homers, 16 RBIs. That's a .792 slug.
Oh, that's unbelievable. He's just killing it.
He has 7 career homers at the Rogers Center.
It's almost you don't want him to play there the entire time. He just for some reason he has a good feel and a great feel for those guys, man, doesn't he? He loves playing there, and he loves playing against those guys.
Well, and then he's got a little motivation too after kind of what John Schneider, the manager of the Blue Jays, said last year. After he hit the 2 bombs last year, Schneider had said something like, well, he's not. They're like, you can get him out, or like if you properly execute pitches, you can get him out. He's a 200 hitter.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. And so, of course, me being me, I just said, hey, Cal, was that a properly executed pitch that you hit out? I asked the same thing.
You're just stirring the pot.
If I had to sit through this crap for this last 6 days, then I'm going to have some fun writing about it.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's at somebody else's expense, and then, I can't even work in his best quote, which was Logan pitched his nuts off today. I wanted to put that in there, but I don't think the Seattle Times is going to allow that.
I think you could throw that in there. Could you not?
Yeah, I don't know. It was hard enough writing about Mitch Haniger's issues in past years. I don't think I want to pitch that in there. So it was Cal Raleigh is a really good player, and I know he hasn't. I was talking with him the other day. This guy takes losing personally more than anybody I've ever been around. None of these guys like to lose, but he takes it personally if he doesn't perform and they don't win. Especially because I think he takes a lot of responsibility of pitcher's mistakes, or if a pitcher isn't doing well, he has that added responsibility. And so it's just like he's everything you want as a leader, and it's not even like he tries to be the leader and tries to be that guy. He's not Mike Sweeney telling you how great he is. He is feared by his teammate, feared and respected because he's tough. He's strong and he cares. And I mean, like, it's pretty good qualities to have. They should probably try and lock this guy up.
Well, I mean, of course they should probably try and lock him up. The point is does he want to be locked up, right? I mean, with all these things, it always takes two to tango. I mean, I think that the Mariners would love to have Cal Raleigh locked up for the long term, but I guess I'll just ask you: does Cal Raleigh want to be locked up long term? I mean, does he
I
truly
think,
want to be here, or does he want at some point want to see free agency?
I mean, I think, for the right price, he'd want to be locked up. I think he does have ownership. And I think, being around Mitch and probably hearing from Mitch about what it's like to leave the only organization you really kind of know, or the organization where you have your success, and going to other organizations, I think there is maybe, more of a willingness to want to sign or want to get an extension. But I mean, he bought a house in Arizona by where the Mariners train at because he wanted to be closer there. I think he's not going back to North Carolina for the whole offseason. Things like that work in their favor. I mean, you look at all the things he does. When there's a charity thing, when there's a representative for the organization, they need to put somebody out there. Obviously, they want to put Julio out as much as possible,
Sure.
but Cal's always out there too because he's just that personable. He's that good with people. I mean, like, I can't think of a better guy. Like when he went and visited that classroom, last year or during the playoffs that one year after they were doing the big dumper chants, he went
Yeah.
to the guy in his classroom. He did that on his own. It wasn't the Mariners. He said he wanted to. He got the number of the guy and got a hold of him, said, I'm coming to visit this class and I'm going to surprise him.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, I think everybody wants him locked up. And again, that's Ryan Divish of the Seattle Times. His weekly appearance brought to you by Chalet Bowl, chaletbowl.com. We are off and running on a live show. It's on YouTube right now. Trying to get it on X, but I don't know what's going on. I probably, if somehow this dumb radio guy can't get it up on Twitter, but you can watch it on YouTube right now, and you are watching it on YouTube as we speak. Divish is live in Toronto. The M's got the victory today here over the Toronto Blue Jays. And speaking of Divish's weekly appearance by Chalet Bowl, Washington's oldest operating bowling alley, established in 1941, located in Tacoma's Proctor District. Family owned and operated for 40 years. Frederick family and staff specializes in customer service for your bowling, food, and fun experience while at our unique 12-lane facility. Go to chaletbowl.com to make your next reservations. I want to go, the 10th inning, obviously, Cal's got the 2-run home run. We mentioned his stats against these guys. France has the RBI double. Haniger's got the 2-run single. Stanek comes in and is fantastic. The much-needed win, Ryan, they needed this. I mean, they have been playing pretty poor baseball and poor on this road trip. This a long flight home. You were inside that locker room, that clubhouse. Just how needed was this victory for this squad?
Yeah, I mean, like, as needed as any victory is in April, this was about as big as it gets. I mean, like, it's not like it's they have losing, but it's the way they've played lately. I think is the bigger concern. They just played like crap the last few games. And so to come out and not only win, but you get the starting pitching performance that you hadn't gotten in the last few days. Your offense does come alive eventually. I think, yeah, it provides a little bit of hope, a little bit of confidence. Just, it's a long flight back to Seattle.
Yeah.
Got to do the custom stuff and everything like that. And to sit on this win and play poorly, I think it's just I think there's an exhale almost. Like, these guys are wound tight. They preach so much this spring about, don't sleep on us and how they believe they can compete and they can compete for a division title and all these other things. And then to come out and not play well and also to look vulnerable to where you're the most dominant at, which is the starting pitching, I think that shakes your confidence a bit. They can sit there and say it's early, and it is by all means. But at the same time, you don't like losing the way they were losing because they weren't competitive losses a lot of the times. I think that's the bigger issue. They didn't want, the non-competitive losses where the starter gets, beat around and they're not really in it to have a chance in the later innings is not something they enjoy. And I think there was too much of that happening on this road trip.
Yeah, just sloppy baseball, right? I mean, they just kind of played sloppy baseball the whole time. I mean, God, if they had not pulled that off there in the 10th inning, we're talking about that 9th inning where your offense comes up, right? Mitch Haniger, I mean, it's feeble. That was a feeble top of the ninth inning. Haniger strikes out, Polanco strikes out, Garver strikes out. And I mean, that was 1, 2, 3, and it was fast. And then you get in the bottom of the ninth inning. And again, I don't know if you guys had asked this or had brought this up to service because, I mean, they won, so it's not a pivotal play. What was, if he did respond to it, what was the answer given why not to challenge the Biggio play? I mean, on the TV broadcast of Root Sports, at least to me, and I'm kind of blind though, it did not look like it hit him. And that's a pivotal part in the game. I'm just curious what Scott Service was thinking. He was on the phone talking to someone. Clearly that somebody told him it's not worth the challenge.
Yeah, I was wondering too, because on at least the angles they showed on TV, it looked like it didn't hit him. He certainly didn't react like it hit him. I'm thinking if I get hit in a baseball on the top of the foot, I don't care how tough you are, you flinch a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
He didn't. And so no, we didn't ask because I forgot about it. I'm too busy stirring up the pot on other stuff, and maybe it's something I asked. My guess is what they felt like is there was no angle that was going to be conclusive to where they would overturn it, and you don't want to burn it unless when you're that late in the game. You don't want to burn it just in case you have that play at the plate that you want to be able to challenge or something like that.
Yeah,
so
well,
that's my guess.
Yeah, probably, but it just seemed, I don't know, just a kind of a pivotal part in the game, and he decided not to do it. The eighth inning, the Munoz, he comes in for Gilbert, 2 on, 2 outs, and man, that's a hell of an out to get out of not screwing out with Vladimir Guerrero. It's a scary, scary human being who in the 7th inning, I mean, how in person, how hard did it sound, and how far did that damn baseball go in person? Because what was it, 460 feet, 459?
459, 114 miles an hour is the hardest hit ball they've had all year. I mean, so we're in kind of the left field corner for the press box here by the foul pole. So you're kind of looking down, and we have this angle where it just and you hear the boom off the bat, and it's like a shotgun going off, and all of a sudden it's just a vapor trail going to left field. And I thought I was going to go to the third deck, but it was too low.
Oh.
And I think Sim said something like the building got in the way or something like that.
It did. It's just unbelievable. And I just love him, man. He just swings out of his shoes, man. He does not care for that baseball.
As some folks say, he urinated on that pitch.
Yeah.
I mean, and Gilbert was so good with that slider all game, and it was just the one really bad slider he threw just to the worst guy you could do it to, because that guy is coming out of his shoelaces every time he swings, giving himself hemorrhoids every time he swings. And that's the that was the tough thing, is because they had done nothing against Kikuchi. But even better is that Gilbert kind of regrouped, got through the inning.
Yeah.
And then even gave him a little bit more. I thought he was going to get through 8 full. He gets the first 2 outs and then just couldn't quite finish it. And there was no way they're going to have him face Vlad for the 4th time. That was not going to happen. They had Munoz up and ready to go in that situation.
Well, you keep it, because if anybody remembers the old postgame show, we are bringing back Hero and or Goat. Now, I don't have the sound effects like the Red Bear and Josh Dabrowski used to have, but I'm just telling you, you start thinking about who your hero and your goat is. It's Puck, it's Divish here. It's Puck's best baseball postgame show here live, pucksports.com, where you can watch it later. Also on YouTube right now at Puck Sports. It'll be up later, the podcast version, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, wherever you find your podcast. Divish joins us twice a week, Wednesdays and Fridays. We thought we'd get him on live today, so we can cut him loose here as he's going to fly back home. You give me the thumbs up when you got to run for your plane, by the way.
I'm not. I don't get I mean, it's just Toronto. It's
okay. You're good.
7:30.
All
I'm
right.
flying tomorrow.
Okay. Well, good.
Look at.
All right.
Look at this travel.
Get a nice
travel.
Yeah. Get another day in Toronto for you.
I'm flying to Chicago.
Yeah.
And then having to switch flights and I think terminals to go on so I can get an Alaska flight home. And then to help save the times is, a couple $100. I'm not flying out till 7 p.m. tomorrow night. So I land in SeaTac at 10 o'clock tomorrow night on my off day. So my off day is going to be spent in O'Hare at the O'Hare airport. And usually that happens because it's just inept and the worst airport on the planet. But I've actually scheduled this misery, and thankfully,
to
Alaska Airlines, possible sponsor of the Puck Sports, I paid the money for the Alaska Boardroom Plus, so I can go to an Admirals Club there in American or at O'Hare and sit there and and look at all the other weary travelers. I once spent 13 hours at O'Hare Airport with Larry Stone. I got drunk 3 different times in one day.
What was Larry doing the entire time? Like cleaning up after
Just
you? Was he just there?
just looking on and on at how quickly I could defile myself and then rebound and then do it again.
I would love an endorsement opportunity with Alaska Airlines. I'm just thinking that the quality of this show and this program, the two of us, we're kind of built for Spirit Airlines. What do you think?
I mean, Frontier, Spirit, Allegiant.
Allegiant. Have you flown Frontier? I've flown Frontier. It's an experience. It's a hell of an experience.
The APD, Kevin Shockey, I think, flew Frontier up to Seattle one time out of Denver, and he said it did not go well. I've flown Allegiant several times, though. That's one of the flights out of Montana.
Yeah, I want to go to the 6th inning, and one thing, and listen, they get the win, so we want to praise the offense, what they did late in the game. But, some of the issues leading up into that 10th inning, arise again with the offense. That 6th inning is another inning in which offensively they get a leadoff single by Julio, but then boom, right after him, it's France lines out to right field, Haniger flies out, Polanco strikes out on a full count. I know they came on late, and they actually have been hitting the ball better later in the innings. What is it, though, Ryan? I mean, what did they talk about? Why it's just taking them so long to get started with this offense? Why does it take them so long to finally get the wheels going?
I don't know. I think if they knew, they'd probably correct it. It's funny is maybe sometimes it's all the preparation that they do, all the meetings and stuff. Maybe they get a little paralysis by analysis instead of just going out there and see ball, hit ball. They're trying to work the count. What they're trying to do is just have an idea of what pitchers are going to try to do to them. But the thing is like, sometimes pitchers are better than you expect or whatever. Like Kikuchi today. Like if Kikuchi pitched that way all the time, I mean, like he'd have been worth the money they were paying him in Seattle. He's so erratic. Usually, like the Dylan Moore inning where they got the run, it was a very Kikuchi type inning in the sense that he had Dylan Moore, the leadoff guy, 0-2, and then walked him on like 4 pitches, and then lets him steal second easily because he doesn't hold runners very well, and then gives up a 2-strike hit to JP that wasn't a very well executed pitch. But for the most part, I think the Mariners thought, okay, we're going to wait this guy out because he doesn't throw that many strikes, and he kind of nibbles and he'll kind of do some stuff. And he was able to get ahead of him enough that they couldn't just wait him out. They had to start swinging at pitches, and then he was throwing stuff out of the zone, and they were still swinging at it. He threw that slider, I thought, today that was a lot better. I mean, he's got his windups changed like 15 different times since I've covered him, and the Mariners don't hit him for whatever reason. But yeah, I think that they just, they're trying to simplify it and be aggressive enough and get good pitches to hit. But right now, the one thing is they want to hit fastballs, and teams just aren't going to throw them that early in counts.
Right?
Like, why would they?
Yeah.
They know what the Mariners are looking for, and they're just not going to give it to them. So they're going to have to figure something out.
What'd you make of the lineup change? What'd you make of them just kind of moving some stuff around?
I mean, yeah, it's probably based on who had seen Kikuchi a little bit here or there. I mean, like at this point, nobody should think their spot's a given. I mean, even Julio, you look at what he's been doing. I mean, in terms of watching the games and seeing who has at least competitive at bats, I would kind of rate the competitive at bats with Mitch and Ty as the highest, and JP, even though JP's not hitting, like he doesn't go down easily, even when he strikes out. And then the ones after that have not been as competitive. Like the strikeouts come too fast, too easy. So Josh Rojas has been okay too. But
yeah, it's
going to see some.
Yeah, it's the one thing.
They're going to see some lefties on this series though.
Yeah, it's the one. Yeah, it's the one thing when you watch them, right? It's like the offense against their pitchers. Like it's like the most competitive at bats you'll see. I mean, they have struggled so much, until Gilbert today, of getting guys out with 2 strikes. I mean, you detailed it in the paper this morning about yesterday's game, and it's just something for all the pitchers they've struggled with this year. They're not making the other team's pitcher work at all. And then for their pitchers, they're just getting beat into the ground. So yeah, that was just that 6th inning just kind of highlighted it. That 9th inning highlighted it too. There's just not anything really competitive or where they're making these guys have to work, deep into games, run up that pitch count, get into the bullpen and all that kind of stuff. Because the flip side, it's happening to those guys, minus today. I mean, Gilbert was just fantastic. And, we've always got kind of get into this debate, right? And everyone's got like their favorite child. It's the Castillo camp, and I know Castillo's struggling this year. Then it's Kirby, and then there's probably the least amount of people are in the Gilbert camp. Like I'm in the Kirby one, others in the Castillo. But then all Logan Gilbert does is come out and say, okay, well, I'm going to show you my best stuff. And he was just fantastic today. And I loved what Cal Raleigh said in the post game about him, that he was sensational. He was great. And he just brought it, and they needed that victory in the worst way.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing about Logan is he's got enough pitches too that, like today, the slider or the split finger was not a good pitch, just couldn't find the feel with it. So we went to the slider, and they knew that spin would work against these guys. And so they used it. He continues to evolve. He never just sat there and said, look, I'm this pitcher and this is how I'm going to be. And it's like, you look at the two best starts on this trip, it was Bryce Miller and Logan Gilbert, right. And they weren't, they're flexible enough to whatever is working that day or what hitters are trying to do to adjust and go from there. And I think the one thing too, like you look at the Kirby and Castillo starts, they're just too much in the plate with 2 strikes. And it's a mindset. Like with Castillo, his stuff is moving so much that he thinks it's going to be off the plate and it moves back in. So you have to think about being more intentional, get it off the plate more. With Kirby, it's the mindset too. Like this guy can normally throw it through a Cheerio if he wants to. So he's just going to have to visualize this has to be off the plate. Yeah, it's sometimes it's a chase. You want to get a chase, but it's got to be something that isn't that, the least amount of damage could be if you miss off the plate is what I'm saying. What they're doing is missing, and it's missing onto the plate with 2 strikes when hitters are most prone to swing. So they have to be better in that. And like I think yesterday Kirby in that 1 inning, they're swinging every time. I put it out there today. He threw 36 pitches in that 1 inning. They swung at 30 of them. Now, run a fastball under somebody's chin because those are all pitches away. They're all real comfortable. Run a fastball under somebody's chin. You don't got to hit them. Move their feet. Do something to get them off balance because that's the one thing with Kirby. He's like an Iron Mike pitching machine. It's like going to the fun park and that thing is just dotting it up, until you get to the one dimple ball that all the dimples are kind of messed up, and then it runs it on you. But like that's what he's like.
But you know what he's got to work on? I don't know if you agree with this. He's got to work on this because you know that his mentality, he wears his emotions on his sleeve. And that's what you love about the guy, right? You love how he competes, and exactly where he's standing, when he's out there and he's on the mound. But the problem is, like, when guys aren't making plays behind him, like you can tell right away that it pisses him off. And it pisses everybody off. But he lets everybody know in the world how much this makes him mad. And I think a little bit it gets him off his game. And he starts to press, and we would all probably do this, but I think that's probably the one area where he needs to get better at showing his frustration because, listen, guys are going to make mistakes behind him. That's just baseball, and that always happens. But he can't show them up that it really does piss him off that much because I do think it kind of takes him out of his game.
Well, you might want to get used to it because it could happen a little bit more than it has lately.
Hey, did you think Polanco was going to make that play? Come on. There's no way you did. Nobody thought he was going to make that play.
You know what? I hadn't written a lead yet that they blew it, so I was hoping that he would just make it because I didn't want to have to just scramble. Like for personal preference, I didn't want to have to scramble and make my life miserable. Yeah. But no, just because how much I was tired of Twitter and everybody yelling at me, I was ready to be done. So I'm sure they were going to be like, "Yeah, they're going to lose this."
I'm glad he made it. I'm just saying that when that ball was hit up and just the reaction to it and him running out there, I'm like, this is not going to end well for him, man. He's going to run out there and it's going to go off like the heel or just the top of his glove, and he's going to drop it.
Yeah, like for whatever reason, Mitch was playing Ernie Clement like he was Jeff Clement playing at Cheney Stadium in Tacoma.
That's fair. Why was he so? You are right about that one. He was deep.
Yeah, and so Service said, he goes, the pitch before, he looked at Manny and said, we got to move him in. We got to move Mitch in. And right when Logan Munoz threw the pitch and it started looping out there, and he thought they're hosed because they didn't react.
Yeah.
Yeah, Polanco made that's the thing though. Those are the plays that weren't getting made in these losses.
Right.
Like the one, some of the closer losses, that's the plays that weren't getting made. Like people want to talk about the bullpen decisions and stuff. Some of that stuff goes into it because, like in that game with both and those guys, they weren't making plays. You know, ground. It's a stolen base here. It's Polanco dropping the. Cal bounced the throw yesterday. You got to make that play. You got to make that tag. The guy was out. Stuff like that. That changes the course of the game, and they've been so good at it the last few years, and they're not. And you're right. Kirby can't react negatively to that because it's going to happen more.
Right.
But you also don't want your pitchers also thinking, well, they better not. We got to strike this guy out. I got to strike this guy out. I got to strike everybody out because these guys can't make plays behind me.
That's
a
the thing.
bad place to be.
Yeah, exactly. That he's gonna go start getting up there like everything's got to be perfect. I got to make the perfect pitch, and if I don't make the perfect pitch, then we're gonna be screwed because these guys behind me can't make any plays.
I had some kid tweet me, and it must be a high school kid. He goes, "This is the worst defensive team in the history of the Mariners." I'm like, let me introduce you to the 2019 Mariners when Tim Beckham was at shortstop.
Ooh.
D. Gordon was at second, having to run around the entire field trying to make a play. Lest you forget that Kyle Seager missed the first month and a half of the season, and they were playing Ryan Healy at third base.
Oh, I do miss Ryan Healy.
Bruce,
oh God,
Jay Bruce.
Where's Jay Bruce
playing first base? He's Vogel Snacks playing first.
Hey, how good did he look in that uniform today? God, he was like a sausage casing. My God, they poured him into that thing. What a beautiful, what a beautiful specimen he is.
I went over to the Blue Jays' new clubhouse, which is like part spa, part New York nightclub, like all fancy and upscale. And Bogey's over there wandering around in his underwear. I'm thinking, this isn't fitting the whole motif, but he's
just beautiful.
He's a classic. And then talk to Eric Swanson a little bit. Yeah,
I love Vogelback. God, he's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and I'm here for all of it. Just the whole thing.
I don't think he'll be on the team once Joey Votto gets back from.
Then the Mariners pick him up. I'd love to have him back in a Mariners uniform. Okay, get him back in there. I'd love to see it. They got an off day tomorrow. You're going to be stuck in Chicago. You're going to be in O'Hare. You got a 6-game homestand starts Friday with the Cubs, and then the Reds. Just after, let's see, what are they? 5? What's their record now? 5-8. Is that where we're at now? 5-8. So, I mean, going into this game, this was the same record they had a year ago at this time. I mean, they get to the point where, like, how stressful for them does it get where you lean on what you did the last 2 years? Because the last 2 years they've been able to get off to these slow starts, but they recover and they come and they have these huge winning streaks. But that's hard to, right, Ryan? That's hard to kind of depend on every year to have one of these big winning streaks. And listen, they haven't buried themselves. I mean, it's 5-8. They haven't buried themselves, but it's kind of hard to always kind of lean on that long winning streak that you think is coming just because he did it the previous couple of years.
Yeah, I think winning streaks are difficult, especially when you're not scoring runs consistently. The one thing is with their starting pitching, losing streaks don't happen very long. I think last year their longest losing streak was 3 games.
Yeah,
because you have starters that go out. I mean, they've gotten 4 quality starts this year. This was their 4th one. They won every game that they've gotten a quality start. So, that's the math and the equation. It's pretty simple. It's difficult. It's not ideal, but the one year of 2019, they started off 13-2. I had executive editors telling me, we got to do a story on Taylor Motter. We got to do a story on this and that. I'm like, just slow down. Okay, let's not go crazy here.
Where in the world is Taylor Motter? God, let's get him on the show.
Yeah. I think I think he was going to try and play in Japan, but then the country kicked him out. So,
doesn't surprise me.
But no, you want to have a better start. But I think beyond the results is you want to play better coming out of spring. And I think that's been the most disappointing thing for Scott Service. The most frustrating thing is they played pretty well in spring and kind of bought into a lot of the stuff they were trying to do. And then once the regular season starts and the bright lights came on and the temperature dropped about 40 degrees, it just all went to hell. And what didn't happen was the starting pitching didn't carry them through it. they didn't get the starting that they wanted, and so that's been the bigger issue. My bigger concern, if I was a Mariners fan, would be the pitching than the offense. The offense always is a little slow at times, but pitching usually carries. And when Castillo and Kirby have had back-to-back, or Castillo 3 rough starts and Kirby back-to-back rough starts, that's the concern. Do I think that's going to continue? No, those guys are too talented. What they just have to do is it's just the number of hits they're giving up. It's crazy the number of hits. They don't need to strike out everybody, but the number of hits they're giving up is a problem. I mean, some of it has been due to the defense, and some of it's bad luck too. They haven't, and the one thing is if you execute with 2 strikes, when you do have 2 strikes on a guy and you can put him away, it takes the luck factor out of it.
Right.
When you strike him out.
That's Ryan Divish, Seattle Times. He's in Toronto. I'm Puck. You're streaming this on YouTube right now, watching it later, pucksports.com, listening to it later at Apple, Amazon, Spotify, wherever you find your podcasts. Ryan joins us twice a week, brought to you by Chalet Bowl, chaletbowl.com. It's Puck's best baseball postgame show here on YouTube. Why are you shaking your head?
Oh, so there was this big fret today. Goldsmith.
I know. I was going to ask you about it. Did he find his passport? I was listening on the radio. He found it?
Gary Hill just posted a picture of Goldsmith holding it and all excited.
See,
I really wanted him to have to stay.
So did I. See, I agreed with Hill. I had to go and quickly run over to Best Buy. God, I love Best Buy, by the way. Hey, Best Buy, you want to be a sponsor here? Come on board. And I'm listening to Hill, and Goldsmith is talking about it. And I agree with Gary Hill. Gary's like, yeah, I kind of hope you don't find it. I kind of hope that you have to stay here for about a month. Because Gary's right. Gary's like, this would be endless content if you had to stay back and couldn't come back into the country. So he got it back. Well, I'm a little disappointed. I was hoping that he wouldn't.
Yeah, because Aaron has taken great pleasure in mocking me on the air at various points.
Correct.
Last year when I wrecked on the scooter in Baltimore, he failed to mention that a car had cut me off and it was raining and I slid, he just said that I wrecked on it. He had the one of me, he had the one video of me during a Seattle Times commercial.
Yeah, he likes to poke fun at you.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, in that one, the very first one in Oakland where they're mocking me and I look like all dour. So I was arguing with my girlfriend by a text message. And so I've got these big ass headphones on. I got yellow glasses for my headaches from the screen. And I'm in Oakland in like a hovel and arguing with my girlfriend. And then all of a sudden I'm on TV for 30 minutes, 30 seconds. And then, there was the one of me eating ice cream where all 4 of my chins were exposed properly.
Yeah, so F you, Goldsmith. We wish we would have stuck in Canada.
Also, I went out of my way. I went to this porchetta place and got a sandwich, and I brought a half a pound of porchetta and gave it to him.
Oh, so you're a friend. You're doing nice things for Goldsmith. All right, well. All right, let's wrap it up and get you out of here. Hero and or GOAT. Give me your hero for the game.
Oh, I gotta give hero to Cal Raleigh because he provided good content for me after the game and made it easy to write my story.
Okay, you got a GOAT?
My GOAT is still CB Buckner from the first. Oh my god, he's so terrible.
He's so bad. It's just so.
I wish we could get.
So bad at his job. It's amazing how bad he is. Comical.
And the thing is, he's so bad, and yet he's better than Angel Hernandez.
That is true. Yeah, that's hard. It's hard to do. It's just amazing. It is. I'm gonna give my hero. You took Cal. I'm gonna give it to Logan Gilbert. I mean, listen, they were in that position because Logan Gilbert was just fantastic today. So I'm gonna give it to Gilbert. And I know they scored late, but I'm gonna give it to my GOAT. I'm gonna give it to the early offense. I mean, the offense early on in that game was just pitiful. And they were safe. They played one good inning. And it was the best one because it was the 10th. That was it. And they got the win.
Did you know that when Dylan Moore stole second and then scored on JP's hit, that was the first run they've scored off of Kikuchi in 3 starts.
Oh, that's good. Put that
first and only.
Put that in your pipe and smoke it real quick.
I mean, you don't think that chaps got service when they don't beat Kikuchi and he shoves on them like that? Oh my god,
bothers them to end. No win. All right. Tomorrow starts the greatest 4 days in the history of all sports. Who's your Masters pick?
So I was searching. I actually joined your contest.
Good. Thank you.
George Kirby, because he's a golf guy, he shared with me his picks for the pool that they have.
Okay.
But, I will always go with my fellow countryman, Hideki Matsuyama.
Good. Nice.
Yeah, that's who I got. I think I can't remember who else I put. Matsuyama, Morikawa, and Scheffler, obviously.
Okay.
And then who else?
All right. A cocktail on the plane ride home. Yay or nay? Are you a drinker?
Oh.
Cocktail drinker on the plane?
If I get upgraded to first class, I'm going to destroy some Buffalo Trace.
All right, Buffalo Trace, we need a sponsorship. Where can everybody find your work, Ryan Divish? Seattle Times, what do you got up there? Is it posted right now?
Yeah, I got my game story up. I got to write a notebook still on Gilbert, but I may go walk back to the hotel and write it from there so I could watch Jackson Holiday.
Yeah.
He struck out, I guess, in his first at bat.
Very cool what they did.
12.
Yeah, very cool what the Ripken family did, allowing him to wear number 7. Very awesome. That was very cool. Very cool. Yeah. Very, very cool. Divish, you're the best. We'll talk to you on Friday, my friend.
All right, see ya.
There he is, Ryan Divish of the Seattle Times in our live broadcast of Puck's Best Baseball Post-Game Show here on YouTube. Also at pucksports.com. No, I don't play the guitar. It's just there for show. All right, that was my wife's, and I never play it. All right, so coming up later, if you are just joining us at the end, this will all be podcast up later, pucksports.com. Also on Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you find your podcast. Divish will be back with us on Fridays, probably posting all those episodes. Will post at 1 o'clock, along with Chris Egan, and then, of course, the Daily Puck Drop, which drops every single morning at 10 a.m. Coming up on Thursday's show, Daily Puck Drop at 10, and then at 1 o'clock, you'll have interviews or podcasts with Rob Staten, Seahawks Draft Blog, brought to you by Superior Linen Service, and then Mike Garofolo of the NFL Network, talking all things Seahawks. All right? We'll talk to you tomorrow. As always, let's hear it. We promise to be better.
No shirt, no shoes, no dice.
Would anybody like to smoke some pot?
Yeah.
I was born to love you. I was born to lick your face. I was born to rub you. But you were born to rub me first.
What do you need my address for? We'd like to send out a mailer.
Mother of mercy, I don't speak Japanese!